Listen, because what you are about to see is a public autopsy of a single devastating mistake that may define a rising political career. This is the story of how a 20-minute Google search became a national liability. The moment Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who had built her brand on having the receipts, stood up in a hearing and delivered a claim so completely fundamentally wrong that her credibility instantly collapsed. The confession? Her own words. I had 20 minutes. We are going to meticulously break down the context, the evidence, the fallout, and the ultimate admission that turned her viral success into a nationwide scandal. Get comfortable, because the truth is always more complex and more dangerous than the viral clip. We're starting with the scene, a routine House Financial Services Subcommittee hearing. The topic is boring, campaign finance regulations, but Crockett arrives with what she believes is a political bombshell. Her team, under enormous pressure, had done a frantic quick-fire search. They pulled a list of Republicans who had accepted donations from someone named Jeffrey Epstein. Now, that name alone is political dynamite. Crockett knows this. She believes she has the perfect gotcha moment to expose Republican hypocrisy. But in those frantic 20 minutes, the one thing nobody did was the one thing that mattered most. Check if the donor was the Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted sex offender. The setup seemed perfect. Crockett leaned into the microphone using that signature prosecutorial tone. She dropped the names: Romney, George Bush, the NRCC, and Lee Zeldin. She delivered the name Jeffrey Epstein with that dramatic pause, that knowing look, implying that every one of those Republicans had taken money from the most toxic name in America. But she never explicitly said the criminal. She technically said somebody named Jeffrey Epstein. The deniability was baked in, but the implication was crystal clear. Now, this is where the story pivots into a political tragedy. A sharp-eyed opponent, former New York Congressman Lee Zeldin, was watching remotely. He knew immediately something was wrong. He knew he had received a donation from a Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, a physician from Long Island with absolutely zero connection to the financier. Zeldin didn't wait. He didn't call the chairman. He went straight to social media and delivered the counter-attack. No freaking relation, you genius. This is what happens when people do opposition research via rushed Google searches instead of actual fact-checking. The counterattack was brutal, accurate, and completely exposed the massive, unforgivable failure in Crockett's camp. The backlash was instant and deafening. Conservative media ran segments with glee. Crockett's Epstein disaster. They didn't just call it sloppy, they called it reckless. This wasn't a minor error. It was an error using the most loaded name in modern politics, and it struck directly at the heart of her carefully cultivated brand as the lawmaker who always has the receipts. The entire basis of her political power was meticulous preparation. That claim collapsed in a single, unverified statement. But the defining, most damaging moment came the next day. Instead of a quick, clean apology, Crockett went on national television and delivered her defense, which became the actual scandal. She defended herself by stating the limitations. I had 20 minutes to prepare for that hearing, and my team did a quick search. The name Jeffrey Epstein appeared. I read it. The entire political world froze. I had 20 minutes. That quote became the ultimate admission, the visible proof that her team prioritized performance over preparation. This is where we pause and ask the most critical question. Should any member of Congress, regardless of party, use the weight of a congressional hearing to make implied, unverified, explosive claims based on a 20-minute Google search? That quote, I had 20 minutes, gave every single critic the ammunition to question her entire credibility. If the integrity of your argument relies on a 20-minute search, what does that say about the seriousness of your oversight? Drop your opinion on that shocking admission in the comments right now. The political experts, even those who support her, acknowledged the severity of the error. The collapse was total. Critics immediately began using her own admission against her, pairing it with memes that showed her frantically researching 5 minutes before class. They attacked her focus on viral moments, her makeup, and her style, arguing that she cared more about the camera than the documents. This is the unfair reality of hyperpartisan politics, but her admission gave them the key to the castle. We need to understand why this matters. Legal commentators even debated whether Zeldin had grounds for defamation. While she technically didn't lie, the clear implication of her statement that Zeldin took money from the criminal Epstein could be viewed as reckless disregard for the truth. It forced her to release a carefully worded statement days later, acknowledging the statement could have been clearer, but maintaining she was just reading the public record. It satisfied no one. Her statement ironically just reinforced the impression that she wasn't quite owning the failure. The collapse was not just about the Epstein name. It was about the destruction of her personal brand's promise. She spent months establishing herself as the smartest person in the room, the one who always had the facts. One 20-minute failure armed her critics with the one thing they needed to question everything she has ever done. That's the power of one mistake in the social media age. That's why credibility, once damaged, is nearly impossible to fully repair. This moment serves as a harsh, permanent warning to every single member of Congress. The system demands rigor, but the media demands speed. When you choose speed, the margin for error shrinks to zero. I had 20 minutes. That became the soundbite defining the risk of modern viral politics. This is the ultimate lesson in political self-destruction. Now for the final big question. Is this 20-minute error a career-ending moment that undermines everything she's done, or is it a human mistake that got unfairly blown out of proportion? I want your honest answer down in the comments. If you appreciate this deep, critical analysis that sticks to the facts and explains the why behind the headlines, please do 3 things for me right now. Hit the like button to support independent analysis, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our updates, and share this video with someone who needs to understand that in the social media age, 20 minutes is not enough. Stay informed, and we'll see you in the next one.